Alrighty, everyone. Steve Metrics here of Db8 Sports with yo boy,
DJ Triggs.
and that's no debate. What are we
Oh,
leading off with today, DJ Triggs?
you know what? We got some brain power, so we started
Okay,
putting our brains together and thinking of new things. And I'm always
nice.
putting my brain out there. I mean, it's not all that impressive sometimes, but
Okay,
I started thinking it's football season,
it is.
so we're gonna talk football like 95% of the time. I was like, hey,
Yep.
why don't we do some headlines to start off the
Okay.
show? Just because a
Okay.
lot of crazy stuff started happening.
Sure.
And lead off number one. How do you feel about this?
Okay.
The first player to ever score 1,000 points in the WNBA is Asia Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces.
That's pretty baller. For her to be the first, is it the first player of this season to score 1,000 points?
No,
That's just
ever,
ever. No one
ever.
scored a
The two-time
thousand points.
MVP. Yeah.
Wow. So no one has ever scored 1,000 points in the WNBA.
Nope. Never. It's kind of weird because, like, you would think, like, Deanna Taurasi and her
Yeah,
high scoring times and maybe a
right.
Katie Smith from back in the day, but nope,
Sure.
never.
It's never happened. Wow.
Mhm.
That's wild, man. That's debate right there.
That's debate. Now the second thing we'll use the WNBA just because they're at the end of their season, so a lot of crazy
Right.
stuff is happening.
Yep.
Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever breaks the rookie scoring record, so
Yep.
that's kind of cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like breaking some history, and like we all know that she scores a lot, and she puts up a
Yep.
lot of points, but like it was pretty dope to see like okay. Angel Reese kind of stepped out with the injury, so like
Yeah.
she's obviously going to win Rookie of the Year. But now
Yep.
it's like, look, I've scored more than everybody else in my rookie season. Uh, might as well just give me the ROI.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. That's pretty cool.
No, the weird part is I can't remember who she passed up, and I feel so bad because I'm like, it was probably somebody legit, and I can't really remember it off the top of my noggin. Um, And then, now this is going to sound really, but the Pittsburgh Penguins, yeah, we're going hockey right now.
Oh, we're going
I
hockey.
see you're wearing your
Throw up,
hockey hat there.
yeah, that's true. Throw up the puck.
Absolutely.
Nice.
The Pittsburgh Penguins re signed the legend Sidney Crosby, 2 years, averaging 8.7 million. Like in most of the sports that we watch, 8.7 is like throwing a quarter in a fountain.
It kind of is, yeah. When it comes to NHL contracts, they definitely kind of screwed this up. I don't know if it's just they don't bring in the revenue, yet every game you see on television is always a sellout. So it's kind of weird. I don't
Yeah.
fully understand it, but I feel like NHL players definitely should be making more. The thing is, too, though, like that sport definitely has really good longevity. Like we know even our favorite player Jaromir Jagr is still making money at 50 years old, being owner and player for a team over in
Right.
Kazakhstan. Like that's no debate right there, man. That's insane. So the ability to make money as a hockey player is pretty baller. I mean, if you're able to play 20 years and get something close to 10 million per year, that could be a ton of money actually. I mean, that would be like 200 million.
Yeah. And then I thought I would throw just a smidge of football in there because we're football
Sure.
guys. But
Yep.
like, there are three major names that are basically going to be out for a while. I mean, obviously you got Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers, but
Right.
we're not even going to mention that guy. But Cooper Cup hit the IR
Yep.
after Puka
Puka.
Nakua's out.
Yep.
So we might have a guy. I don't know if he's on your list, but
We might.
Just saying, receiver wise.
Yep.
And then Isaiah Pacheco gone for 6 to 8 weeks, which that's like brand new news. About 4 hours ago.
Right.
That just like that hurts my soul, to be honest.
I know. And plus, that's a player you
Um,
and I both really like. We've discussed a lot. Um, I don't know. Like, the thing is, too, with like knowing how that offense works, like, no matter who these receivers are, you can tell there's still some lack of cohesion there. There's a lot of physical demand coming out of him. Plus, I think week one was a really rough matchup, and we'll talk about that later. But I kind of always had the feeling, even though I have a little regret that I didn't draft him, I kind of still always had that feeling in the back of my mind that he was probably going to go down at some point this year. I didn't think it would be this early, though.
yeah, 6 to 8 weeks is a long time.
That's a massive
And
amount of
then
time.
the last one, even though it's not injury, he is going down to the bench. Bryce
Okay.
Young has finally got benched for Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that is putting up the white flag, saying flat out he's just not good enough. I mean, if Josh Rosen bounced out of this league as quickly as he did, and there were things in Josh Rosen that I actually really, really liked. I thought he was a solid quarterback behind a garbage offensive line. For Bryce Young to be up and out of here is pretty bizarre. And not only that, that offense is like they got really nice pieces on offense. Dave Canellis is building a great offense, but I saw his press conference today, and man, that looks like a guy who has only slept like 4 hours in the last 48 hours. Man, you can tell he has been through the ringer trying to figure this out. And Bryce Young is just not a NFL quarterback. Now, there is one weird scenario that I heard brought up, and it makes a lot of sense. What if there's a way to deal him straight up right now to Miami?
I've heard a lot of weird things about Miami. People
Yeah.
are clamoring for Ryan Tannehill again.
Oh,
And then they signed Tyler Huntley from the Ravens practice squad.
that changes everything. If they sign Tyler Huntley, then Miami's got their guy. They're set. Tyler Huntley's really good. Yeah. You there, Triggs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I like the
I
Tyler Huntley
am.
signing a
I'm
lot.
trying to be here.
Yeah, I know. I got you. But yeah, the Tyler Huntley signing is massive. He's a great player. He's definitely got more of that Lamar Jackson kind of prototype in how he plays. But having him in that offense, we'll see what happens. You definitely need more threats, to be honest, on that offense. I just feel like they're becoming, to me, it is kind of reminiscent of the Ravens right now. They are both those teams are becoming very weird one-dimensional teams where it's like if you just shut down one piece, the rest of the team pretty much crumbles. I mean, hit
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill at the
I
line of
mean,
scrimmage. He ain't doing much. And then great, Devon A-Chain and the rest of you guys can try to beat us. It's I just don't think Miami is a good football team. It is a very lackluster style of football they play against bad football teams. And that's pretty much it. And then the Ravens too. I mean, I saw it firsthand this weekend. I mean, it's Derrick Henry doesn't really get going until the end, but in order to have that happen, the Ravens kind of have to be ahead in games. Other than that, they only really have Zay Flowers and some tight ends to throw to. It's weird, man. Like both those teams are going through some really weird things on offense that just doesn't look quite right.
yeah, but Zay Flowers went bananas this past week.
Yeah, and then he went bananas after the game
Yeah.
too. Yeah, he tweeted flat out he is pissed. He is pissed for the
What
second
happened
straight
after
week.
the game?
Yeah, after the game, he went on Twitter and posted that for the second straight week, this team doesn't give me the ball in the second half. Yeah.
Wow.
For the second straight week, he posted that. So you already have a disgruntled number one slot wide receiver.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how to segue out of that. Disgruntled.
Yeah. They got major issues going on in Baltimore. I mean, I'll be honest, still going back to Hollywood Brown, how that transpired and how he departed Baltimore to me was a shocker. The guy at Oklahoma balled out. He was a heck of a player back in Oklahoma. To go to the Ravens, and we thought, like, man, this was going to work. This was going to be a home run. It didn't. He went to Arizona, kind of so-so, had a little bit of the dropsies, but bring in Zay Flowers, people are like, man, this is the next big thing. I thought he was for sure one of the best receivers in that draft alongside Jaden Reed and Jackson Smith and Jigba. But it just like he has big games and kind of developed later in the season. But there are just times where, man, watching this Ravens offense, like it just gets so weird.
Yeah, so, I agree. Like, I just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, our boy Tyler here.
I just read the comment.
Yep. Yeah, he's right, man. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on right now, and it's pretty interesting. And speaking of which, injuries, that is definitely the one thing that I've come across that I haven't been too good at following. I know there's a really, really good link. If you go to ESPN, click NFL injuries, they update those weekly reports pretty frequently, and it's really, really good. So that's the one thing that I know I have to do myself to better monitor these players.
Yeah. I mean, guys are just going down left and right. I know we mentioned only a couple of them from the beginning, but man, it's just tough out there.
Right. And I don't like, I feel like part of this could be the fact that I don't know. I feel like some of these guys going down, to me, I think they're kind of close to the age of 30 for the most part, except you get a guy like Isaiah Pacheco who runs incredibly hard and does what he does. But I think some of these other guys too, I wonder if it's the fact that maybe they don't have too many reps in the preseason, and then going back to straight game speed kind of does them in a little bit. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm just shocked that we're getting so many injuries right off the bat. I mean, the Rams and parts of the 49ers, which I did expect to get hurt, but not this quickly out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, multiple running backs with McCaffrey, Pacheco, multiple wide receivers with Cup and Db, and it's kind of crazy. And then multiple starting quarterbacks too, with Love and Tua, and you're just like, what else happens? I mean, DeForest Buckner, the defensive tackle for the Colts, was out, and he doesn't miss any games. Like,
right. That's true.
It's just bananas, and we're only in week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in week 2. A lot of pretty interesting upsets. To me, the wildest thing that is going on right now, I did not expect the New Orleans Saints to be this great out of the gates. There's parts of that offense that I definitely like. I mean, I've liked Alvin Kamara, and I've always liked Taysom Hill. But the rest of the receivers on the team, like, I was always concerned about them because of Derek Carr. But I'm hearing a little bit right now that Clint Kubiak is flipping the script on that offense, and they are loaded and they are ready to go.
But I mean, is that the thing though? Yeah, I'm seeing this Carr is balling. That's not really true. He was 11 for 16, which, I mean,
it's only 11 throws.
Pedestrian at best. He threw an interception. He was sacked. Like
Yes.
basically, Shaheed and Chris Olave only got 4 receptions apiece. Like, yeah, they were big time receptions, but like, I mean, Alvin Kamara basically destroyed the Dallas Cowboys by himself. Like,
Right.
what else can you say? That dude lit up fantasy boards. I think he got like 40 points or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. He absolutely balls out. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it, but I definitely should have thought of him higher. I mean, especially last year, we thought there was a really good bargain on him. This year, we thought it was a little expensive, but he's really showing us that straight up Alvin Kamara is definitely a top 5 running back, border like at worst top 10. But Alvin Kamara is just a monster. And pretty much ever since he's just risen ahead of Mark Ingram, he's just gotten better and better.
Yeah. And the crazy part is like Chris Olave and Shaheed are like hit or miss now.
They are.
Like Olave was going pretty high, like top 4 rounds, and
Oh, yeah,
like
that's too high.
you don't know if Carr's going to actually pass him the ball or if
Yes.
Kamara is just going to eat up everything.
Right. And that's why I've always liked the value on Shaheed, because with Shaheed, not only does he receive and he's shifty and speedy, he also returns kicks. So that's really, really big in fantasy. The fact that he can also take it to the house, and he's done that last season as well, that makes him really valuable. And he was a guy you could get way, way late, like in the 200s. So he's definitely one of those guys I've liked. But yeah, you're right. That offense is really hard to notice. Why is it this good? But man, that offense is kicking. I feel like there's got to be a third receiver in this group that we're not seeing at the moment. But we'll have to dig a little deeper and find who that is, because if they really throw more, then that could open up that third receiver. But if they don't, then this team might not be real yet. Again, we only have 2 weeks of data. We have a new offensive coordinator that definitely changes things. But I am kind of with you in saying, hey, what else is going on here? But some of these people I've heard on TV, they are saying that flat out the Saints are real.
So 5 guys got targets in that game. One was a
Okay.
fullback who didn't catch the ball. One was Taysom Hill. The others were the 2 wide receivers and Alvin Kamara. And that's it.
That's it. And yeah, you're right. That's the thing too, is like the completions aren't a lot, the attempts aren't a lot. So it is kind of weird. It is really weird to begin with.
And on the Dallas side, I mean, there's very little to talk about except CeeDee Lamb might be the only guy that's playable.
Ooh, that's debate, and we will talk about that later.
Ooh,
That is definitely debate.
wait a minute. I hope it's not a running back or like
It is not a running back.
maybe Tolbert. I don't even know, but we'll
We
get there.
shall
We'll get
discuss. Yep.
there. What about the next game? How about we just jump on this Colts Packers game?
Yeah, I was watching the stat box on this game, and I know you
Oh,
picked
you were
them,
bored.
and yeah, like this was definitely a game that the more I thought about it, the more I thought you were right, because Anthony Richardson, man, he can definitely have some throwing issues similar to Lamar Jackson.
Oh, throwing issues. Yeah, let's just say I don't believe in that guy, and I'm glad in the leagues that I did draft him, I drafted like Tua or Dak Prescott or somebody behind him
Gotcha.
because he was going pretty high, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to go up that high, but
Yes.
man, Malik Willis made him look really bad.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely true. Yeah, I mean, I love seeing this rise of Malik Willis. He's a really good guy, so I love seeing that. I love how next week he actually gets to have revenge on the team that straight up cut him. Like,
Oh, I got
yeah,
some
it's
beef with that team too.
yeah. So yeah, we'll talk about that. There's even more we can talk about later with the Titans and how their quarterback play is going. But it's pretty cool what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, going back to the Colts, I think that's why, like, when it comes to fantasy players on that team, like, obviously we like Jonathan Taylor, but I think when it comes to the targets, the one that I feel the most comfortable with, which has the craziest amount of volume, is straight up Alec Pierce. He is Will Fuller. He doesn't need a lot of targets. Just give him a few. He's going to make massive yardage out of any catch, and he might get a touchdown.
Yeah. If you drafted Michael Pittman, I don't even know if Richardson knows he's there.
Yep. They are not on the same page. Their chemistry is horrendous.
3 different tight ends caught a pass.
I can't even name 3 tight ends on that team.
Yeah,
I can't even name one.
Exactly. They have
Jack Doyle's not there anymore. Oh, maybe Mo Alley Cox is still
there. I
there.
was going to say Mo Alley Cox is one. Okay. I want to say Andrew Ogletree.
I don't know who that. I really don't know much about that guy.
And then I'm just going to look up the third one. Give me
Kylan
Granson.
I still don't know who that is.
Yeah. 3 running backs caught a pass. Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, for like 2, 7, 9 yards, like it was bad.
Yeah, it's definitely a really, really weird offense that's going on there. And Shane Steichen's great, man. Like, he can call an offense with the best of them. But I think you're spot on. Like, the wildness of Richardson and what I was hearing in the preseason just made me say, hey, avoid everything with him and avoid all of the wide receivers. And granted, I kind of didn't like that second part because, yeah, I do really, really, really like Alec Pierce. And I had him on my team last year. And he's already balling out. So that's the only one I like.
What about the Bears and Texans? How you feeling there?
Yeah, I actually watched a little bit of that game this morning on replay. I really like the Texans. They are flat out my Super Bowl pick out of the AFC, and I feel very, very good and confident about that. But when it comes to the Bears, their defense is great. They have really good pieces on offense. Their offensive line is horrendous. That's exactly what I'm seeing, and they are continuing that issue from the previous seasons. When it comes to anything moving forward, they need to draft offensive lines and pay offensive lines and probably get better coaching as well.
Yeah. There's another one of those teams where, I mean, the running game is horrible. Then wide receivers, you just kind of hope that you got the right guy.
They got had like 50 yards. Yeah, they got receivers. Their receivers can play. They can ball out. They have one of the best cores out there. I know some of them are banged up. That and Caleb Williams, to me, are not really the issue. What the issue is, they need to actually allow the quarterback to drop back and make a throw. If he's dropping back and already feeling pressure, he can't even wind up to make a throw. That's what's going on in both of the Bears games that I've seen thus far this season.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of I'm not completely out, but Caleb Williams is not. I don't see it yet.
Oh, I see it. He can make throws. He can make things outside the pocket that are similar to Stroud, similar to Mahomes. But when it comes to actually having the time to make his throws, he just doesn't have the time to do it.
Yeah. I guess so.
I mean, I think he was sacked like 8 times yesterday. It's close to 8. I
can check. 7. You were correct, sir.
Yeah, it's bad, really bad. No one can make it through a game with that much pressure. I mean, I think normally maybe the average sacks in a game is probably around 2 or 3. But when you're getting sacked, and who knows how many hits and pressures, it just looked like he was under duress the entire game.
See, but here's the problem, right? Is like his run game. DeAndre Swift had 14 carries for 18 yards. And it's like, if you can't run the ball, they're just going to just destroy you, stack the box and just hold you there. And then if they don't
Right.
stack the box, you're still not going anywhere. Like you shouldn't average 1.3 yards a carry. That's horrible.
Yeah, actually, I believe they are the lowest yardage average per play in the NFL right now. I believe they average 2 yards per play on offense. Yeah. Yeah, they are leading the NFL with
Yeah.
like 2 yards per play.
Yeah,
They just can't with an offensive line as bad as theirs. That's
uh
the way it's going. And it's a shame because I think they have a really good team, but their offensive line is just horrendous.
how about we go to a positive? I will
Sure.
let you gloat on this one. Are you ready to gloat, sir?
I don't know. Let's see who you bringing up.
The Cincinnati Bengals and your boy. Go ahead. Go,
Mike
get it all in there.
Gesicki. Oh, straight up.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So that has been my theory since before the draft. Mike Gesicki to me is just he is easily a top 10 tight end in the NFL. I think you can make the case that he's top 5 as well. He's somewhere around 5 to 10, somewhere in there. I don't know exactly where, but I really think he is somewhere in that range. And like Travis Kelsey, like, dude, I'm sorry, man. Like, you're done. Like, I know you're going for a three-peat, but your days of being amazing, they're over. Mike Gesicki is still really, really good. And the biggest thing going on right now is the receiving core for the Bengals is pretty much like just severed more than in half. It's probably like 2/3 of what it was last season. So if that's the case, Mike Gesicki, and I know they have another young tight end on that team, they're the ones running this offense. Them with a little attention to Jamar Chase, a little bit of running back play out of the backfield. That's kind of how they're trying to balance this offense. When the wide receiver play starts to pick up, it'll become better. And again, too, I know they're 0-2. I still think flat out this is the best team in the AFC North. They're 0-2. I'm not really concerned about it. But I really, really love the style play that this team plays with. And if they want to, I think they're going to play more like they have explosive football, but they also have like black and blue football, which is really, really cool. They have a really nice mix. But Mike Gesicki is like, man, every time he catches the ball, it's like 8, 9, 10 yards downfield. And it's catch after catch after catch. He is pretty much Joe Burrow's number one target, unless it's Jamar Chase. He's massive.
You know what's crazy? This man had 9 targets. Like,
yeah.
What? Like
every time I pulled up my phone, he had another catch.
Yeah. 7 catches for 91 yards is pretty bananas.
And for the second straight week, he came this close to scoring a touchdown. I mean, this guy could easily be the number one tight end in all of the NFL right now.
I mean, he's 6th in fantasy, if that means anything.
Wow. He's 6th. I thought he would be even worse, to be honest, without the touchdowns. But yeah, if you give him the touchdowns, he's even. I mean, I could easily make the case that he's better than Isaiah Likely because he's an actual tight end, and B, the other tight ends on the Bengals, like they're still rookies, they're coming on, they're still learning. But Gesicki is just a monster, and it does remind me of what Gesicki was until Mike McDaniels showed up coaching the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, not much to say on the Chiefs side besides Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes and Pacheco going down.
Yeah, but this is a team that's lucky to be 2-0. I think this is a team right now. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're looking at this saying, I don't even know how good we are. I mean, the one thing that I can definitely say on this team that I noticed that took a step up after losing a massive piece, I think their secondary is really, really good. I mean, they're shutting down guys like Jamar Chase. I'm seeing them making plays in the back of the end zone on defense. that secondary is for real. I think they have a really, really good secondary that's really holding the fort down. And together, I think their defense can definitely make big plays.
All right, can I call this the tight end bowl?
Ah,
Pittsburgh and Denver. My boy Greg Dulcich led Denver in targets with 8, and Pat Fryermuth led the Steelers in receiving yards with 39.
and
Yep, 39.
didn't our big guy Denard Robinson? Um,
Washington.
yeah, Washington. Yeah, he took it to the house. So like
He
it
got
is
him a touchdown.
finally. I like that guy. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. But yeah, I mean
Can,
that's one of those things too that like you and I are on the same page. Greg Dulcich is a really good tight end as well.
real quick, just I'm gonna go on a tangent. Can
Sure.
someone please explain to me why Darnell Washington, 6'7", 265 pounds, runs like a 4.5 40, is not getting the ball more?
Yeah.
Just give it to him every play. Just let him run halfback.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally the thing right there is like make that guy run halfback. I think he would be just a monster coming out of the backfield. Very Derrick Henry-esque. Almost a throwback to Hernandez and the Patriots back in the day. I think he could totally do it. I'm with you on that, man. I think that would be really cool. And the way this offense is already kind of a little bit shaky, I think they need that.
If Bo Nix would stop throwing interceptions, he'd be okay.
True. That's fair. That's
That's
fair.
analyzing it right there. That's top notch and analysis work. Um,
Absolutely.
what about this one? Because I thought that we were going to have ourselves a problem. Kyler Murray is the man.
Yeah. I was hearing a ton of hype about him going into the season. It's deservingly so. I didn't know exactly how to plot this, and then I was kicking a bunch of strategies around in my mind. But I definitely even had a few mocks where Kyler Murray was like the quarterback for me to draft. I did draft him early in my draft process a few times. I paired him with the tight end Trey Burton, I think, from
McBride.
yeah, Trey McBride. That's it, from the Arizona Cardinals, and that's what I was trying to pair was that combo. I wasn't too sure about Marvin Harrison, or honestly, I didn't even know where that guy was getting drafted, to be honest. But what
First
Kyler
round,
Murray,
way too high.
yeah, like I can't go first round on Marvin Harrison out of the gates like that. Um, I could see him in most 10-team leagues. If I got to go that high, I'd probably comfortably take him in round 3, to be honest. But there's so many other guys. But I don't know. Like then again, too, like it's been a weird last 2 years because the first round has been a complete bust. Like it's been really hard to figure out guys in the first round. So that's going on. It's even happening again this year. Again, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are kind of beat up already out of the gate. So it is what it is. But it's been tough. But like Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, like there's a reason why I picked that team to make the playoffs. I think that team is loaded. I think they cover both sides of the ball really, really well. They're very well coached. I think this is a heck of a team, and I think they will be in the hunt to absolutely make the playoffs, if not fight for that division.
Yeah. I mean, if Marv is going to put up 20 to 30 points a week, sure. All he's got
Yeah,
to do is complain about getting the ball.
absolutely. And now this is a home game against Detroit. I'd love to see him stick it to Detroit.
So we're going to go to your team and my new
Okay.
favorite player. You know, I put him over every time I can hear about him. My man Gardner Minshew is like 30 for 38. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, stat line, play line, just being out there on the field. He was a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson on Sunday. That's no
Yeah.
debate. You check
No.
everything on his stat line, he's flat out was. He had a very ugly, weird style of throw, and that created an interception. I don't know what he was thinking at that time, but then Max Crosby went up to him, pounded him on the chest, and said flat out, "We got you. Whatever it takes on that next drive, you get it right." And from that moment on, he carried him the rest of the game. And I mean, we're already talking this weird chemistry between Michael Pittman and Anthony Richardson. The chemistry that Gardner Minshew has with Devontae Adams is insane. I don't know how everyone missed it. No one talked about it. I've seen it in 2 games now, but him and Devontae Adams are tight. It is a heck of a chemistry that those 2 guys have. And like last year, we saw pretty much all 3 of those quarterbacks, their number 1 look was always Jacoby Myers. That is no longer the case. You bring in a guy like Gardner Minshew, he is flat out first look into Devontae Adams every play.
Oh, he's trying to get himself a contract. That guy. I mean, 9 of 12 to Devontae for $110 and a touchdown. And then Bowers was like, yo, I'm over here 9 of 9 for 98. Like, we didn't even know that. I mean, obviously he was one of the top picks coming into the draft. And like, he's like, yo, I'm a legit tight end. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, I mean, you are seeing exactly why this guy's a national champion. And there was definitely a few moments in that game where, like, I know he may not be up there numbers-wise, but when I see him play, like Pat Freiermuth on the Steelers makes some insane catches. And it may not show up in the numbers, but I still think Freiermuth is probably one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And Brock Bowers yesterday was making those same quality high-end catches during that game.
Seattle at New England. How you feeling there?
I haven't seen this game too much, but I know there's a lot of heavy run play going on with New England. Somehow between Ramondre Stevenson and the shifty Antonio Gibson, they are doing their damage. Somehow whoever is calling these plays for New England with the tools, and as kind of lackluster as it may look, they are figuring it out, man. New England is a much, much better team than I thought out of the gates. I think them and New Orleans, to me, are the 2 most biggest surprises. Even though New England loses this game in overtime, I think New England's really playing well to start the year.
The thing I don't understand about New England is, like, okay, you got Jacoby Brissett back there. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
The guy, he completed 15 passes. 8 of them were to Hunter Henry.
Whoa. I mean, Hunter's
the number 1 target there.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, Hunter is a really good tight end. He's had some weird stuff with quarterbacking. I mean, like, granted, he had Justin Herbert for a bit, but man, seeing him in New England has been kind of weird. But I do think Hunter Henry just hasn't had his moment, to be honest. Kind of Gesicki-ish, to be honest. But Hunter Henry is a solid tight end. I mean, I felt like he was right on the cusp of becoming one of those high-end tight ends, and then he gets dealt to New England, and then Tom Brady leaves. Like, it's just kind of weird like that. But I don't know. Maybe we might be seeing Hunter Henry make his thing, and to be honest, their quarterback play in New England might not be as bad as we think.
Yeah, true story. Speaking of bad quarterback play, Deshaun Watson helped Cleveland win a game, 18-13.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing going on there. I mean, he's still not playing that great. But even the other side of the ball, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think I picked the Jaguars because I was kind of at a loss, and I was in the heat of the moment and not really knowing who that 7th team out of the AFC should be. So I went with the AFC South team. But yeah, there's some stuff going on with Trevor Lawrence too that isn't so hot. And the guy's been in the league for, gosh, I think he's played almost 50 games in the NFL, and he wins basically 2 out of every 5. Like the two of them both have issues. And that's why, and here's the interesting thing too. I don't know if you heard, but Deshaun Watson, in August, and this is before the lawsuit that appeared again this past last week, Monday, they actually took out all guarantees out of his contract
Oh,
in
I didn't know that.
August. They did. So he is playing this season as the franchise quarterback, but all of his, they actually restructured his entire deal, and his guarantees are gone now.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, let's go on to a positive note where
Sure.
there were actual good quarterback plays in this game.
Yeah.
You're not going to believe me. The Giants and Commanders.
Yeah, I don't know, like I know Jaden Daniel for a while I was watching the stat line during my Raider game, and it was like 6-6, 9-6. It was low scoring, and then all of a sudden it just popped, and then it became like tied, and then it was like really back and forth towards the end of that game. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty high on the slot receiver for the Giants. He ended up getting a touchdown in this game. And then Jaden Daniels, I mean, he is progressing. He is getting better and better as this game goes along. I just remember watching towards the end, seeing that, what was it? I thought the Giants were at the goal line, and I swear they were going to score. And then after that, then I noticed the Washington team had the football, and then they proceeded to win. I just don't know what happened. I don't know, man.
Washington kicked 7 field goals.
Oh my goodness, that's
Their-
21
Their
points.
kicker probably won people some fantasy games.
I don't think that it's not Dustin Hopkins, it's not Joey Sly. I don't know who that kicker is now.
His name's Siebert.
Oh, Austin?
Sure, no idea.
Cool. All right, whatever.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I clicked his name and nothing came up. So
Fair.
I don't know.
But that's like the cool thing too that I'm kind of noticing, and a friend at work kind of put me onto this. I think it's really cool that if you're in fantasy, I think it's really a smart idea that if you have a quarterback who you really believe in and can score a lot of points, pair that kicker with your quarterback.
Yep.
Because basically that means every drive you get downfield and you're on the opponent's side of the field and you're ready to score, that means you're going to score 3 to 5 points every single time.
Or you have a quarterback who throws 23 for 29 and 225 and can't score, and then you kick 7 field goals.
That's crazy.
No,
that is
no.
crazy.
You want to know the craziest stat that I saw on this? Daniel Jones was 16 for 28. Malik Neighbors had 18 targets.
That's mind-blowing.
Yep.
I mean,
he threw the ball to 4 players. That's it.
Jeez. That's insane. And one of them who I played with had an insane amount of targets last week. Wan'Dale Robinson had like 12 targets last week.
Yeah.
He pretty much sticks to his progressions. Whoever he looks at, that's who's getting the ball.
We can kind of rapid fire some of these next ones.
Sure.
Not too many exciting things happen in the Jets and Titans game.
No, but I guess we'll start positive here. To me, there is definitely some interesting things going on with the Jets run game. And I think you and I kind of pointed this out. I was hearing this from other people too. Not a single person on television, not a single professional who like it's their job to like cover the NFL. Not a single one of them pointed out that Braylon Allen can actually take away touches from Breece Hall.
Yep.
And everyone I know who's from the state of Wisconsin, we have all seen this coming. This is absolutely going to happen. The reps increase. The guy, I mean, he basically has the size and build of Derrick Henry, and he's just faster.
Yeah, he got 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 rushing.
Yeah.
So the Jets, that second half, and this isn't just because we're Wisconsin people, Rodgers looked like he was ready.
Yeah, I mean, man, his throws like to basically the sidelines, those were money throws, man. Like absolutely money throws. The one to Brees Hall and the one to Braylon Allen, like they're just excellent throws, man.
Bucks at Lions. I mean, Mayfield didn't throw the ball very much, but like he got it done.
Yeah, that team's cooking. I mean, I know we have a lot of people have the hype train for New Orleans. Like that is full steam, like choo choo. We are going cross country on the hype train for the Saints. But I'll tell you, I still fully believe that Tampa Bay will be the team that wins this division. They're going to play some pretty nasty games. I think. I think Saints Buccaneers. That is a straight up rivalry. That is probably one of the truest rivalries we got going on in the NFL right now. There's a couple others that are pretty good right now, but like seeing Tampa Bay do what they do, I think we were both on the same page that they would go into Detroit and take care of business. And there are things on that Detroit team that I'm hearing that this offense is getting weird, that they're not sticking to what they're good at. David Montgomery is a heck of a running back. Feed him the ball. Their offensive line is great. They got Penei Sewell. Make that happen, and then use your targets to throw the ball to.
Yeah, I mean, Laporta is non-existent. Jameson is basically taking his targets away, and like they're not running the ball as much. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of kind of weird, Sam Darnold is a quarterback.
I know that's I know you and I both picked. I think we both picked San Francisco last week to win that game. But as that game was like showing up in the morning, I was checking out the sleeper pick'em. I think San Francisco was favored by 7.5, and I'm like, no, there is no way they're winning by 7.5 against Minnesota. Minnesota, we know, has a good secondary. They're coached by Brian Flores, and their offensive side of the ball with how they're coached is actually really well too. And not only that, your quarterback has inside information on that team. That's going to transpire as well. And I think the biggest thing we're seeing now too, that the 49ers without Christian McCaffrey and even the Carolina Panthers without Christian McCaffrey is significant. That is the true 2024 offensive MVP of the league is Christian McCaffrey. Not having him is just massive with how he plays into an offense. No matter how good your players are, Christian McCaffrey is truly the best offensive player in the NFL. Even though Jordan Mason had a game, but your offense just takes a massive step back if he's not out there.
Sam Darnold is a top 10 quarterback in fantasy.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if I talked about it with you. I definitely talked about it with someone at work. I thought too, I mean, I know your strategy was fall back into the draft and take a quarterback late. Did you ever, when you were kicking that strategy around, did you kick around Sam Darnold?
I did. It was just one of those, like, I got locked in on, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but Will Levis and Bo Nix. And I was like, this will be solid.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure how Jefferson was going to return, but I mean,
sure.
97-yard touchdown, anyone?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for me on that strategy, I mean, I wasn't as all in as you were, but for me, the Levis and Bo Nix schedules to start the year is scary. Like, I don't know which one is tougher, but both of them have just an uphill climb, at least from now through the next month. It's really rough. But again, Sam Darnold, with knowing you have that defense behind you, knowing you have Aaron Jones if you have to go to him, knowing you have these great targets on offense. And then he went through the rest of the game and he didn't have Jefferson, and he didn't have Jordan Addison at all in this game, and he didn't have TJ Hawkinson. That right there tells me that Sam Darnold and this Minnesota Vikings team, they're going to be fine. They might actually make the playoffs.
No, boy. All right.
They might.
You know what?
There's not too many good teams in the NFC, to be honest.
So every one of these next quarterbacks threw for 130 yards. The Chargers against the Panthers and the Bills against the Dolphins. One of them got injured. One of them got benched.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the other story to that is that the chart. I mean, you got to realize all of your high end quarterbacks in fantasy in the NFL, they're all going to have clunkers. They're all going to have games at some point that just don't go that great. But the thing is that with Herbert and with Josh Allen, their run games are awesome. Their coordinators are awesome. The way they scheme it up, the way they play complementary football, how their defense can get off the field right away and bring the offense back on and have these long drives and keep running the football and making it impossible for the other team to do anything offensively makes it easy that you don't have to throw the ball, even though you have these weapons. If you get to a point where you just don't have to throw the football, then don't do it. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Like this week, there were a lot of running backs that had massive days, and I don't think that was coincidence.
Yeah. Do you want to do some rapid fire picks?
Yeah, let's do some picks. Let's fire it off.
New England is 7.7.5 point underdogs to the Jets.
Based on what I've seen, and I have heard there are some quirks about the Jets as well. I'm not saying necessarily they pull the upset, but I definitely think the Patriots cover in this game, especially with how well they've played against both Cincinnati and Seattle has been really impressive.
Agreed. Patriots cover.
Yep.
The Giants are 6.5 underdogs to Cleveland at Cleveland.
Yeah, this is a game I wouldn't touch at all, but I think Cincinnati this Cleveland. I think Cleveland is really going to start to kind of find their way, and the Giants are really they're a weird team. They're not a good team. They're weird. They're bad. But I truly think Cleveland. They may not be good, but they should definitely be far better than the Giants.
I don't think they can get the 6.5 points on the Giants just because Cleveland's so bad.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Bad too, but
yeah,
I'm gonna hang with the Giants.
6.5. My goodness,
that's a lot.
It is.
Indy home favorites by 1.5 over Chicago.
Indy 1.5 over Chicago. Yeah, I will take that because I mean we're seeing Chicago cannot run the ball. Chicago cannot execute a game plan that Green Bay just successfully ran against the Indianapolis Colts. So for those reasons, yeah, I'm definitely taking the Colts.
Me too. Houston, 3.5 point favorites away. Minnesota's at home.
Ooh, this is a Minnesota home game. Wow, this is
both teams are 2-0.
Yeah, both teams are 2-0, but I really think the pass rush of Chicago is far better than the pass rush of Minnesota. I might be wrong on this. I mean, I'll have to see it. I haven't really seen everything on Minnesota yet. But I felt that was the determining factor in actually keeping the Bears in the game against the Texans. I don't think Minnesota will be able to pull that off. So for those reasons, I think Texans win this game, and I think they win it big. I could see them winning that game by double digits.
I'm in Darnold we trust until he lets me down.
Okay, there you go. Nice.
Saints at home giving up 1.5 to Philly.
Well, I'm going to take a peek and just look at the television screen and somewhat base a decision off that. So, all right, I got a tie game at the beginning of the second quarter. I'm going to say flat out, based on what the heck is going on with New Orleans, I will take New Orleans to keep doing their damage.
I agree. I don't know what's happening over there in New Orleans, but something's in the water. And I'm not talking Katrina, but
there you go.
I don't know if I can still say that, but I'm going New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh 1.5 point favorites at home against the Chargers.
Oh, that's wrong. That's just flat out wrong. The Steelers are like the Raiders, but not as good on offense. Their defense is fantastic, but they are nowhere near what we were on offense, and we hung with the Chargers for a half. I would definitely take the Chargers to win this game by more than the spread against Pittsburgh. I have no clue how Pittsburgh is a favorite in this game. They're just
I don't know,
not
but
that
I'm going
good.
to go with Pittsburgh because they're at home.
Oh, okay.
Tampa, 6.5-point favorites at home against Denver.
6.5 at home against Denver. Boy, that's a weird spread. I would just flat out take Tampa Bay to win it.
I'm going to go Tampa and the spread.
Okay.
Green Bay, 2.5-point underdogs at Tennessee.
Yeah, I would just take straight up Green Bay. Take the money line, make more money, take Malik Willis in the revenge game.
Yeah, because Tennessee's horrible.
They are really bad. So here's the other thing I saved earlier in the show. I have heard twice the head coach of the Titans right now has thrown Will Levis under the bus in front of the press. So that is speaking volumes. I mean, from what I hear, Levis seems like he's a good guy. I've heard a little bit about the attitude, but there is right now something going on where flat out the coach greatly dislikes Levis.
Yeah, he was chewing him out on the sideline, like really bad.
Yep.
This is a crazy one, and I'm just enough crazy.
Okay.
Las Vegas at home is 7.5-point favorites over Carolina, and I am hitting the Vegas button.
Okay. Yeah, I would hit I believe we can definitely win this game. But to me, let me think about this. I think we actually started last season. I think we led off against Carolina. And if I recall, we won that game, but that game was kind of weird, kind of close, I think. I believe Vegas can win that game straight up, but that's a weird game. And the other weird thing is this is Andy Dalton. I think we played against Andy Dalton last year. I really do want to say we played against Andy Dalton. But, I mean, you have a new quarterback. You have a new bag of tricks on offense with the receiving core. I am a little bit concerned of this game. 7.5 against a new ball of wax, to be honest. That's a lot of points. And the way we win our games, we don't win our games by that many points.
I just don't think Carolina's going to score at all. So,
but it's Andy Dalton. It's no longer Bryce Young.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Carolina can just go hop off.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
So this is going to be my surprise right here. Miami is 6.5-point underdogs at Seattle, and I'm crazy enough. I'm going with Miami.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I will definitely take Seattle, and I will. How many points are they favored by?
6.5. That's a lot.
6.5. Yeah, Skylar Thompson. Or wait a minute,
Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley is now the quarterback.
Probably.
Yeah, I would just bet Seattle straight up. I think the points you're going to get a little bit in trouble with covering that spread. I would just take Seattle straight up. I mean, if you do want to take Miami to cover like you would, I would hope those odds are really good. And I could see that, but usually spreads are about even money for the most part.
Oh, I get all the spreads on the Pick'em thing that you invited me to.
Yes.
So I just use them on there.
There you go.
Arizona, 3.5-point underdog, and they're at home with Detroit coming in.
Yeah, I got them winning that game straight up.
Me too.
That game is at home. They are flat out the better team. They're kind of like Tampa Bay this past week.
Solid. Baltimore, 1.5-point favorites on the road going to Dallas.
Okay, so I think this is, to be honest, I actually think this is a mismatch for Baltimore. I think Mike Zimmer, he's now the first coach to see what the playbook is really on this Ravens offense post week 2 Raider game. I think the book is out on how to beat this team. And like I said, we'll talk about this a little bit later. But with already the issues they have running the football, and to be honest, I've seen back-to-back weeks of no success at all really running against Baltimore. They're not going to do it. They're going to throw, and they're going to play really good defense, and they're going to beat the Ravens.
I don't trust Dallas, so I'm going with the Ravens. San Francisco is 7.5-point favorites on the road going to the LA Rams. Weird. I'm going Rams.
Oh no, I'm going with the Niners. The Rams are so beat up in everything on offense except for Matt Stafford, and you really got to knock on wood because you wonder how long that's going to last. For those reasons, I would absolutely take San Francisco. I think this is kind of a get right game. Learn what their lessons were from the Mike Flores Minnesota matchup, and then make improvements on that going into this week with what you have to do in the throwing game.
Kansas City 4.5 away, going to Atlanta.
Going to Atlanta, yeah, that's kind of a weird one. And we'll like, I know we're kind of running on time, but and we're going to talk about some free agent pickups. They got some weird stuff going on, but again, I think their defense is pretty solid, and they're going against a team that really doesn't score a lot of points. They do not have the firepower that the Bengals have. I would definitely take Kansas City. I'd probably just play it safe and just take the money line.
I'm going Kansas City with the 5 because Atlanta, nope.
Yeah, that's a bad football team, man. It's a really bad team.
Jacksonville, 5.5-point underdogs going to Buffalo.
Yeah, when you said Jacksonville, I'm like, I would hope they're probably an underdog against the majority of teams in the NFL.
Yeah,
just straight up, they are a bad football team. The same gripes I have about Lamar Jackson are identical for Trevor Lawrence. He makes the same mistakes. They give him a ton of weapons. He has more weapons than Lamar Jackson, and he still can't get it done. They have a bad offensive line, but that's no excuse. I mean, you got C.J. Stroud still, honestly, with a bad offensive line doing what he does. I love the way Buffalo runs that team. I think, and especially towards the end of the season, I think Buffalo will be one of the last 4, if not 2 teams remaining in the AFC.
Yeah, as the young people say, Jacksonville is straight buns.
Oh no.
Okay, last but not least, Monday night, we got Washington, 7.5-point underdogs to Cincinnati, and I am going Washington.
Yeah, I would take Washington on the spread. I like that. I think, and not only that too, like it's kind of, I don't know, like it's similar, but to me it's different. Like you're going to see probably better tight end play out of Washington than you just saw out of Kansas City. So that brings a different element into this. I don't know. I think that defense is still kind of trying to gel on Washington. I like it. They may not win this game, but I would at least take them to cover.
That's it. What do you got for fantasy?
So what do I got for fantasy? So when it comes to the free agents that you can get out there, I would definitely, and not only that, these are no debate available free agents. We're in a league of 24 players, and all of these players are available. If they're available in our league, they are 100% available in most like normal people 10, 12 fantasy leagues. But that's boring to us. So we go 24, and next year we go 32. So here we go. The first player I got up here, that's no debate. The first player I got up here that is pretty wild. I had him in my grasp. I had him in my palms of my hands, and then I dropped him like Deshaun Jackson right before he walked into the end zone when he caught his first almost touchdown pass. But Quentin Johnston, big guy out of TCU. The thing I didn't know in this game, and going back to the injuries, I didn't know that Josh Palmer was hurt. That was basically it. I mean, just looking at their line, their receiving core is actually pretty nice. You have Lad McConkey in the slot. Outside, you have Joshua Palmer on one end, and on the other side, you have Quentin Johnston. I don't care what his numbers are. I like the size, and it's why I had him at like number 7 last week. And a bunch of transactions went by. I tried acquiring him. I got him, and then I realized Wan'Dale Robinson gets 1 million targets, and I went for that because of the targets. I was a little afraid of the early bye week coming up on the LA Chargers, but that's it. Get him at number 1. He should be available. Awesome player. I know. Yeah, he's pretty cool. The second player I got here is Jalen Naylor on Minnesota. And he might not be the only Minnesota Viking out there. There's no Addison. Justin Jefferson's banged up. So you might want to check and see who else is out there on that depth chart and maybe pick him up. But Jalen Naylor, back-to-back weeks of touchdowns. He's getting pretty large yardage per target attempt. I mean, we're talking basically more than 10 yards per target. Like it's pretty cool what's going on there with that target there. Whoops, switched us up a little crazy. That's debate right there, man. Oh, that was wild. But yeah, like check him out. I think Jalen Naylor is a great addition for this week. And again, too, we brought him up earlier in the show with the Jets. I think we're going to see more reps moving forward. There's a lot of, I don't know, this to me, looking at this schedule, the Jets have some weird grindy games coming up. We initially thought their schedule would be easy. I don't think it is. I think they're going to have some weird games. The way the defense is looking is kind of odd. The offense has its issues at times too. I think Braylon Allen, he's going to show up. I think this is a guy that gets stronger and better as the season goes along. So totally get Braylon Allen. He is my third free agent pickup that you can get this week. At number 4, you'll appreciate this. He's had a tough schedule to begin the year. And he's basically, to me, he's pretty much always showed up. I've seen this guy as a LA Ram. He's played very well over the last few years in Detroit. But he's one of Jared Goff's guys, and not anymore. Now he is with your Bo Nix and your Denver Broncos, Josh Reynolds. This is a guy you gotta get. He has not the biggest amount of fantasy points, but he's out there pretty much the majority of plays, and he now has 13 targets in the last 2 weeks. And he is getting definite throws downfield. You're seeing yards per target is at least averaging around 10. You're seeing some good stuff out of Josh Reynolds. He's a guy that, to me, I felt very consistent playing with, or at least playing against, and seeing what his stat line is. I think Reynolds is a really good receiver that you can get. Number 5. Oh, wait a minute. I probably got this out of order. Yep, I got out of order. But whatever. Greg Dortch, the human Dortch for the Arizona Cardinals. Solid player, solid slot wide receiver. And I've been kind of playing, like, that's why I went with Wan'Dale Robinson, is because Wan'Dale Robinson played Washington. And what was it? The previous week, the Buccaneers had great slot success against Washington. So I like that with Wan'Dale. Now, what I'm seeing with Greg Dortch is in week 3, the Cardinals. Who do the Cardinals play again, DJ Triggs?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's check.
Yeah, isn't this against Detroit?
Yes.
So again, now kind of following those slot receivers, the slot guy that just went up against Detroit was Chris Godwin. I followed Chris Godwin last week and got results. This week, now Godwin just played Detroit. Now Greg Dortch plays Detroit. He's the slot receiver. Detroit is not good at nickel corner. That's what I'm starting to see. That trend is starting to show up. So I know Marvin Harrison had a big week, but even so, typically we don't see game plans duplicate from week to week. They just don't. Like, they might be really good, maybe Marvin Harrison bucks that trend. He's a super talented guy. He could easily do it. But that being said, play a little bit with the odds, and Greg Dortch at slot, I think is going to do really well. Plus, this guy returns kicks, so you could always get some kick magic right there. Go and get yourself some Greg Dortch. I like that. Number 6, kind of weird. I don't know. Antonio Gibson, solid in Washington. He is getting more attempts. Clearly, New England likes to run the ball. This is a guy who can also play shifty out of the backfield as well. He's out there about 1 out of every 4 plays, but he can make the most out of his plays, man. And even in 11 attempts, still averaging 9 yards per carry. That really shows up, man. I think he's really got some good stuff there. He's always been a pretty solid player. May not be crazy stat line, but he can definitely ball out here and there for you. I like him. So getting up on the end here. Actually, I do have this out of order. I know we were talking Dallas. Yeah. So Jalen Tolbert is the guy that we were discussing, and I will bring him back again. I really, really like Jalen Tolbert for free agency this week for the reason that I have now seen the Baltimore Ravens in back-to-back weeks basically stuff every rusher. I think the Ravens possibly have the best rush defense in the NFL. I really don't think anyone is getting any good success running the football against the Ravens. Maybe that's a way to victory for these other teams. Maybe it's a way that the Ravens keep themselves in games. But for whatever reason, no one can really run the ball well against the Ravens. So I would think already with the weird issues going on with Dallas running the football, they're going to play outside. Slot receiver-wise, I mean, I just saw them go up against Jacoby Myers. Myers did okay on a few catches, but that was it. I think they might actually have a good nickel corner, to be honest. But then again, too, we're not a team that really runs too much nickel packages. I would definitely try Jalen Tolbert outside. I think he could definitely do some damage. This is a team, too, that might be trailing in this game. So if that is the case, maybe try some more Jalen Tolbert. He might get it done. This might be a streamer. You might just try him this week, maybe not the next. I don't know. But I think Dallas absolutely has to throw, and I think they have to throw outside because of all the CeeDee Lamb attention going on in this game too. So give that a shot. Last guy I got, Jamal Williams. There is so much production going on with New Orleans scoring points. Week 1, he had a touchdown. This guy somewhat plays special teams a little bit. If what's his name, Rashid Shaheed is not returning kicks, Jamal Williams will return kicks. So you have that as well. But their schedule coming up, I mean, we don't know exactly how this is going to play because we have such a limited amount of data thus far. But Philly, Atlanta, KC, Tampa Bay, we know is pretty stout against the run. Those could be 4 tough games that I think they're going to need a little extra oomph to get into the end zone. I think Jamal Williams is going to get you some more touchdowns here and there, possibly rushing or catching a football. I don't know. But he is – I just think there's so much volume in this offense, and this offense has been completely reshaped. I would definitely give Jamal Williams a run for it if you have to add a player to your team or figure out something on a given week. I think Jamal Williams is a pretty solid back. And that's it.
Nice. Solid. Solid.
That's it.
I might have gone and went to try to go pick up one of those guys. Don't tell anyone, though.
Interesting. No, I won't tell anyone. I will tell you, though, I will probably put in claims in not that exact order, but I will put in claims for every single one of those players. And a defense that is yet to be named later.
What?
Yes. Again, too, I mean, I currently own this defense. A little shout out to them. But yeah, if you can get the LA Chargers defense, I know they have a bye week coming up. The LA Chargers defense is fantastic, straight up. Really, really retooled by Harbaugh. But yeah, like a little spoiler. We'll see if it happens next week. But we're going to save that one and save that on the low end. Keep your eyes on. There's definitely a defense out there that is looking really tasty for the next month.
Solid.
Yeah, that's no debate.
Boom.
Yep. So I think that's everything we got for this week. You got anything else, DJ Triggs?
Nah, that's just about it. I don't want to give too many secrets away.
No, you don't want to be like me and give out 8 players that you're looking at acquiring on the waiver wire. So
No.
I know. But yeah. So for Steve Metrics and ya boy.
That way.
That way. That way. Ah, there he is. There he is.
DJ Triggs.
Together we are No Debate Sports, and that's No Debate.